This church is a body. May this body breathe and be together in a spirit of hope. May it feel held in comfort. Those who seek consolation, may they find solace in this moment. This church is a body. It is as vulnerable as most newborns and untried of its members. It's ancient and it is ever new. This church is a story. It's the story of lives which are interwoven, brought together in this place and this time for this simple purpose of caring for one another and helping one another along the arduous path from birth to death. This church is a vision. It is a vision of unity amid diversity. It is a vision of reverence for all of creation. It is a vision that beckons us beyond the concerns of our own skins. In silence may we abide as one body, and in the spirit of faith, hope, and love, that is the story and the vision of this church. Thus ends the reading. Folks at home are now invited to light your chalices while we light ours and Paula leads our covenant.
The members and friends of Unitarian Church of Hinsdale promise each other to listen and learn together with compassion, curiosity, and an open mind. Stay engaged and participate to create a warm, welcoming, and financially healthy church community. Work together and beyond our walls to address social and environmental challenges and support our church and its mission with time, talent, and treasure.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Pam Romancic, and my pronouns are she and theirs. Each of us brings so many different lenses and identities to this world, and all of yours, whatever you are bringing to us this morning, is welcome as we work to uphold the worth and dignity of every person and the joy of every one of us as we move through life. Thank you now for placing your electronic gadgets in worship mode so there isn't a beeping or ringing during the service. Child care is available over in the Religious Education Building, in the door, down the steps, third door on the left. Our kids are still starting their classes over there, but as soon as they get vaccinated, we'll go back to having them begin the services with us here. I want to say thank you so much this morning to Paula Sajit Dvorak for being the worship associate, for Jeff Tepema for joining us for special music, and for Jamie Kastman, always our wonderful musician. Now, details of everything that you saw on the announcements are in news and notes or on our website. So if you're new to the church and you don't yet receive that, you can either sign up at the desk at the back of the church, or online you can go hit a contact form and fill out your information and you'll be included. After the service today, there's going to be our new UU class directly after the service. So any of you who are joining us for that, please go over to the Religious Education Building, up the stairs, the hall, the room at the end of the hall. And then there's also at 1 o'clock today a building tech team meeting on Zoom, I'm pretty sure. Check your news and notes to be sure. Green Sanctuary and our nonfiction book club have invited everyone to read Nature's Best Hope by Douglas Ptolemy. And there's going to be a lively discussion this Tuesday, October 26th on Zoom, so check notes for that. There's also a link in news and notes for a TED Talk by Ptolemy. So if you haven't yet finished the book, he covers a lot of what we're going to be talking about in that TED Talk. So now I'm going to invite Jane Fulzer, and she's going to talk to us about our at-home national park program.
Is an entomologist, and so he's very concerned about insects in our world. He tells us that they are the basis of our food web. Also that they depend on, our native insects depend on native plants to survive. So we all depend on these insects and these native plants to survive. These insects pollinate 95% of the food we eat. So he has asked us all to get on the map, to plant native plants in your front yard, your backyard, your parkway, any place you can. It is so important. So he wants you to tell him that you have planted these plants. So to do that, go to homegrownnationalpark.org, his website, and create an account. The directions are on the website, or we have some in this envelope over here. And once you have created your account, we want you to tell us, Unitarian Church of Hinsdale, that you are on the map. So we have the map right here. And we have some little insect stickers here. So when you get on the map, sign your name over here on the list. I've got my name up there. And here's my little bug right here. So we encourage everybody to get on the map.
Thanks, Romy. I actually did get on the map, but now I'm looking at it and saying my house doesn't fit on the map, so we'll just put it on there somewhere. Let's see what else is going on quickly. In November, the Racial Equity Team will be showing the Emmy Award-winning documentary 13th by Ava DuVernay, which explores the connection between America's history of slavery and mass incarceration. You can see the film here on Sunday, November 7th, right after the service, right here in the sanctuary. There will be snacks. Or you can watch it virtually on November 18th, starting at 6:30 p.m. And then finally, next Sunday is Halloween. So I thought, since we have to wear masks all the time anyway, you might as well wear fun masks next week. So dress up in your funnest, scariest, goofiest costumes, and we'll have a service that's just a little bit more out there than usual, if that's possible. We begin our time this morning with open hearts and open minds, listening for the wisdom of spirit, for the joy of connection with one another, and for the comfort of our own faith home. Let our worship begin. We welcome Jeff Tepema.
Talking to myself, listening to the radio, long, long time ago. Damn near strangled by my appetite. Ybor City on a Friday night. I couldn't even stand upright. So high the street girls wouldn't take my pay. Instead, come see me on Saturday. Then they just stand tired of traveling alone. Tired of traveling alone. I've grown tired of traveling alone. Won't you ride with me? I've grown tired of traveling alone. Tired of traveling alone. I've grown tired of traveling alone. Won't you ride with me? Won't you ride? Won't you ride? Pain in the outside lane. I'm tired of answering to myself. Hard like a rebuilt heart. I don't know how much she's got left. How much she's got left. I've grown tired of traveling alone. Tired of traveling alone. I've grown tired of traveling alone. Won't you ride with me? I've grown tired of traveling alone. Tired of traveling alone. I've grown tired of traveling alone. Won't you ride with me?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jeff. As a part of our service and a part of bringing a culture of gratitude, we're taking a moment each Sunday to say thank you to somebody. And someone who would offer their time and their talent and to create a world that is safe and just and beautiful for every person. So this Sunday, we're saying a special thanks to Suzanne Williams. Suzanne. I hope you feel the love. She served as a Board of Trustees member. She's helped organize Green Sanctuary work. She shows up, and she just had a day yesterday like you wouldn't believe in trying to help make sure our always interesting technology would continue to work. We are so grateful for everything she brings. She sits back there with Alex, so thank you, Suzanne. And make sure you just, give her a virtual hug. Please look around yourselves and see people that are doing things that you're grateful for here in the church or even out in the world, and send me an email so we can put them into the service next week and every week. Is there anything this moment that anyone wants to voice of gratitude for this morning? Very good. Doug Chalamy in the Homegrown National Park. Anybody else? Any other gratitudes this morning? Yes. Great. Thanks, Mary. And you were thanked last week, so it all goes around. And this is great. Thank you so much. Out of this place of gratitude and fullness, we bring our gifts to this church. We work here to make the world a little better place, a little kinder, a little warmer, a little more welcoming. And so now is the time that we share of our own blessings to help the good work of this church go on. Those of you at home are welcome to go onto our webpage, www.hinsdaleunitarian.org. Click on the donate button. And if you missed the shared plate collection this month for Planned Parenthood, you can still go online to donate or write Planned Parenthood on the memo line of your check. As our collection is gratefully received, I invite you to say our offering words together. This church is made up of all of us. It is what we learn together, the work we do together, and the fun we have together. It's what we share with one another, the people around us, and with all the world. Our offering will be gratefully received. Thank you.
This reading is entitled Heavy by Mary Oliver. That time I thought I could not go any closer to grief without dying. I went closer and I did not die. Surely God had his hand in this, as well as friends. Still I was bent, and my laughter, as the poet said, was nowhere to be found. Then said my friend Daniel, brave even among lions, it's not the weight you carry, but how you carry it. Books, bricks, grief, it's all in the way you embrace it, balance it, carry it, when you cannot and would not put it down. So I went practicing. Have you noticed? Have you heard the laughter that comes now and again out of my startled mouth? How I linger to admire the things of this world that are kind and maybe also troubled? Roses in the wind, the sea geese on the steep waves, a love to which there is no reply. Thus ends the reading.
Here we bring our whole and holy selves. I invite you now into a moment of stillness. Put your feet on the ground if you can. Allow your body to rest and relax down into the seat of your chair. Breathe in, breathe out. I'm going to offer a meditation for resilience that was written by Tammy Holcomb. As you relax into your body, focus on your breath. Take a breath in. Slowly, slowly, slowly release it. Place your hand on your belly. Notice the rise and the fall as you breathe deeply in, all the way, and then all the way let it fall as your lungs release. As you breathe in, take in peace. As you breathe out, let go of any negative self-talk, any negative thoughts which are hanging around your body. Today we focus on resiliency. So as you breathe in and out, picture yourself as a sleeping bear. Feel your chest swell with power as you take your deep breaths. Notice the strength in your shoulders and arms. Listen to the force as you breathe out. Continue to focus on your breath. Think about how you can be both calm and powerful. As you continue to relax deeply, think about a time when you stayed calm during a challenging situation. Think about the skills and the strength that it took for you to maintain that calm. Notice how you knew intuitively what to do. Take a moment to appreciate yourself and your ability to handle things. Now think about all of the connections in your life which have helped you to be resilient. This may be family, or friends, or church, or work, or pets. Anything that allows you to feel connected and supported. Think about a time these connections allowed you to do something really difficult. Allow yourself to feel gratitude for these connections. Now return to your breath. Allow yourself to enjoy this gratitude. Continue to look inward and think of a time when you felt accomplished. Think of a project or a task or a skill that you completed successfully. Remember that sense of accomplishment. Imagine standing tall with your head held high and your shoulders back. Embrace this confidence. Remember this feeling. Draw on this memory when you doubt yourself. Now continue to notice your breath as you feel calm and connected and confident. Going just a little deeper, think about where your resiliency comes from. Think about your history. Were there others in your family that were resilient? What challenges did they overcome? This might even mean family members you never knew. These stories have been passed down through your family because that sense of resiliency was so inspiring. Now imagine a golden thread passing through all of your family, connecting to this person that had so much power, and then feel the push of power as these gifts are passed on to you in your own unique way. Think of a symbol to represent this resiliency. Hold on to that image. Now breathe in and breathe out, slowly coming back to this place and this time, bringing with you all of your own strength and power and connection and resiliency that lives in the body that you are in right this moment. Open your eyes. Welcome back. If you have something weighing or dancing upon your heart and you would like to come up and light a candle this morning, you're welcome to do so. You can simply return to your chair, or you can tell us and share what's on your mind.
Is the mic on? There we go. A quick reminder that we do stream to YouTube and we're on Zoom, so please use some discretion. You may want to leave out last names or very personal details.
Hi, I'm David Mrazek. I'm lighting a candle for my dad, George Mrazek, longtime member of this church and who died a year ago this coming Wednesday. He's with us every day.
Joe had a health scare this week. We were in the emergency room all day, zillions of tests, and I'm happy to say he's fine. He's more than fine.
Hi, Susan Morrison-Hebel. A week ago, we buried the ashes of both my parents, who died in January, in a beautiful service on a beautiful day. And I was reminded of this church because their church, also Unitarian Church of Quincy, came out in full force and made the day just happen beautifully. So the connection across the generations and between the churches and within this wonderful faith was very pronounced for me. And Dave, I think our dads are sitting somewhere in the cosmos having a really great conversation right now. The second candle I lit in honor of Reverend Pam, who had a birthday this week.
I'm Dave Lloyd. I'm excited and inspired, and I really thank Jane Folzer for making this happen with the book Nature's Best Hope. I just finished it. It's an easy read, and with all the environmental problems that we face, you can save all the energy you want, but unless governments change policy, we're not going to be able to do anything about climate change. Same thing with plastics, same thing with everything. This is a program that government can't do. You and I are the ones who can do it, and all it takes is planting some plants And the payoff is you get to see butterflies and bees and lightning bugs and hummingbirds in your yard. Your children and grandchildren have this connection, and it's so easy, and it will change the world. Thank you, Jane.
Thank you, Paula. Good morning. I'm Jonathan. I'm intending to make some phone calls this week to what I'd like to call alumni members of our church. You know, people, for whatever reason, move away. But I think one of the great benefits, I hate to say it, that there is a benefit, but there has been a benefit to COVID in that we have started broadcasting our services and putting them on YouTube. And I hope to remind people that they can stay in touch with us via electronic media. So, thank you.
I lighted a candle for my husband, Dave. He's not here today because he had a hard week, and Friday night he fell in the middle of the night, and he has several staples in his head, but thankfully he's okay too.
We light our 3 final candles as every week. One for all those intentions that are too tender to be spoken aloud this morning, let them rest in your hearts. One for our planet and for all of our leaders, that each of us may do everything we can to remember where we live and how we can take care of our planet. And then finally, this church, which exists in the world in such an amazing way and helps us to have our sorrows and double our joys. Thank you so much.
Let us pause in life's pleasures and count her many tears. Oh, we all share in sorrow with the poor. It's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. It's a song the sight of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you hard times come again no more. Though we seek love and beauty and music, light and day, their frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices are silent, their pleading faces sad. Oh, hard times come again no more. It's a song the sight of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you linger too long around my door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale young maiden who toils her life away with a warm heart whose better days are o'er. Though her voice would be singing, it's sighing all the day. Oh, hard times come again no more. It's a song we come again no more. Oh, hard times come again no more.
Thanks, Emmylou Harris and the Nash Ramblers. This reading is from the New York Times, Why Are Some People More Resilient Than Others? By Eileen Zimmerman. Stress isn't all bad, says Stephen M. Southwick, Professor Emeritus of Psychiatry, PTSD, and Resilience at Yale University School of Medicine, and co-author of the book Resilience, The Science of Mastering Life's Greatest Challenges. If you can cope today with all that's happening around you in the world, Dr. Southwick said, then when you are on the other side of it, you will be stronger. How we cope depends on what is in our resilience toolbox. For some people, like my ex-husband, the toolbox is filled with drugs. For others, it can be drinking, overeating, gambling, shopping, but these don't promote resilience. Instead, the tools common to resilient people are optimism that is also realistic, a moral compass, religious or spiritual beliefs, cognitive and emotional flexibility, and social connectedness. The most resilient among us are people who generally don't dwell on the negative, who look for opportunities that might exist even in the darkest times. During quarantine, for example, a resilient person might decide that that was a good time to start a meditation practice, or take a online course, or learn to play the guitar. Thus ends the reading.
Good morning. So Reverend Pam asked me to reflect on resilience and being able to do hard things. And the thing that popped into my mind was the idea of toxic positivity. This is kind of a newer phrase that's been, bantered around. And toxic positivity is something that actually impacted me about almost 2 decades ago now, when I found out that my mother had been diagnosed with cancer. I went to see a therapist, a young therapist myself. I think I was just finishing up school. And this therapist, she basically said to me, well, your mom was diagnosed with cancer, but just look at all that you have. Look at how great your life is. And I said, okay, that I shouldn't feel bad, right? I should feel fine because my life is great. And I kind of pushed things down for a long time because she never took steps before that conversation to allow me to feel my feelings. So toxic positivity is you can't feel bad. You just have to feel good all the time, no matter what. Just be happy, right? That is not what resiliency is. That is not what emotional intelligence is. So I'm going to give you a quick tool to use. It's called RAIN. And RAIN stands for recognize, accept, investigate, and nurture. So the problem that my therapist had was she jumped right to nurture, right? Gratitude. That's a nurture piece. She skipped 3 steps. The first being recognize. What emotion are you experiencing in this moment? It could be a quick emotion that's just popping up because of a situation in front of you, or something much more complex. Accept that emotion. Acceptance doesn't mean liking it. You don't have to like the situation. You don't have to like how you're feeling. You just have to accept that it's the reality that you're experiencing at this moment. Investigate. Why do I feel this way? Did something happen? Am I tired? Am I hungry? What do I need to do? Maybe it's nothing. Maybe nothing happened and I just feel angry or sad or lonely. The last step is nurture. And that's when we can do something that can help us to feel better, like gratitude. And that's wonderful. But without the first 3 steps, it's empty. So if you're having a hard emotion, try to use RAIN to recognize, accept, investigate, and then nurture how you're feeling. And it will help build your resiliency. So I think that what I've learned after almost 2 decades of being a therapist is that people just need to have their hard feelings acknowledged. They just need to know that other people have had them and that they won't last forever, right? and then we can move on to focus more on the positive and to be able to do the hard things that need to be done. This is a reading from Untamed. Author Glennon Doyle recalls her decision to become sober and deal with addiction in her book Untamed. Danger, danger, don't be ridiculous. It becomes difficult to breathe. Yet, there in that bathroom, dirty, sick, broken, aching, gasping, I still want to become a mother. This is how I learned that there is something deeper and truer and more powerful inside me than the ache. Because the deeper thing wins. The deeper thing is my desire to become a mother. This is what I want more than I want to stay safe. I want to be this being's mother. I decide right there on that floor to get sober and re-enter the land of the living. I suspect that the courage I muster up to make this decision is due, in large part to the fact that I'm still wasted from the night before. I stand up and wobble out of the bathroom and into life. Life is exactly as I remembered it, just the effing worst. While I attempt to both become a human and grow a human at the exact same ridiculous time, I am also teaching third grade. By noon each day, I am dizzy with several sicknesses at once. Morning sickness, withdrawal sickness, and the sickness of living without a daily escape plan. Each day at noon, I walk my class the long way to lunch so I can peek into my friend Josie's classroom and see the sign hung above her window, which says in big black block letters, "We can do hard things." We can do hard things becomes my hourly life mantra. It is my affirmation that living life on life's own absurd terms is hard. It isn't hard because I'm weak or flawed or because I made a wrong turn somewhere. It is hard because life is just hard for humans, and I am a human who is finally doing life right. We can do hard things, insist that I can and should stay in the hard because there is some kind of reward for staying. I don't know what the reward is yet, but it feels true that there would be one, and I want to find out what it is. I am especially comforted by the we part. I don't know who the we is. I just need to believe that there is a we somewhere, either helping me through my hard things or doing their own hard things while I do mine. This is how I survived early sobriety, which turns out to be one long return of the ache. I say to myself every few minutes, this is hard. We can do hard things. And then I do them. Thus ends the reading.
We can do hard things. I think I don't have to tell you that right now, since we've just come through, a year and a half of doing hard things. We're right down in the midst of a difficult time, still wearing masks, still curtailing our activities, still not singing together, not hugging, not seeing one another's beautiful faces. On Sunday mornings, it is a hard thing. But there are all kinds of hard things that we do in life, and sometimes it feels like enough is enough, doesn't it? I was just recently reading about the Great Resignation. That's what they're calling the 4 million people who have left their jobs in the last couple months. It's a record number of people. And so many jobs are out there that employers sometimes have to line up 8, 10, 20 applicants just to get one person to show up for a resume. We're having that same issue with our bookkeeper search. And it's not just the low-wage jobs either. I also read an article that said that more than 30% of ministers have either taken an early retirement or just quit and started looking for another vocation. Life feels really hard right now. Because across the board, we are standing, looking at a new reality, and it's really hard to figure out what's coming next. I mean, the reasons for this mass migration of people away from the jobs, they're very widely according to which article you're reading and which study you're looking at. But many people are just fed up with having a job that they feel like they're not appreciated in. They work really hard, and with so many jobs opening up, they figure there's got to be a better one out there, right, somewhere? This seems to be ironically good for our economy. Wages are going up already. There's a sign down by us and the McDonald's that said, looking to hire, starting at $16 an hour. Look how hard we railed and marched and wrote to try and get $15 an hour, and now the economy is just doing it for us by saying we really do need these people, so maybe we should pay them not quite what they're worth, but we should pay them something. How does this fit with saying we can do hard things? Well, for one thing, it is hard to quit your job sometimes. It is hard to take that leap into the unknown and to trust that the next chapter is probably going to be better, that your parachute will open when you've made that leap. But I think the really hard thing and the impetus, the sea change in the sea change of all this employment is the ever-lengthening pandemic. Because in the beginning we had this camaraderie, this sense of being all together for the short term. Maybe, I know, for much of my life I would say to myself, I can do anything for 6 months. I can do anything for 6 weeks. Now I can do anything have shortened considerably with my aging body. But I still have the same idea that we can be together into doing hard things for some period of time. But when it starts looking like it's going to be the long haul, what it's going to be, what life looks like for the rest of the time we can imagine, we decide we have to make a change where we prioritize what's best for ourselves. And I think it's that description that Paula just said, rain. First we have to recognize, and then we have to, what was the second one? Accept. Accept is like, I had E in my head, and I was like, no, it's an A, accept. And investigate and figure out what is the thing we need to do next. So we can't just leap off a cliff, but we also can stop and really pay attention and make a decision out of that awareness of where we are and what is possible and what we can bring to it. Now I can see some of you may be asking, maybe at home, Dan, didn't you just preach just a few weeks ago about good news, about how life is actually getting better than it was in the olden days? And yes, I did. And no, because it is incredibly better in terms of life expectancy and child mortality and treatment for so many injuries. But also life has gotten way more complicated. Our children survive infancy only to be facing a huge rise in suicides among our high schoolers. And we have running water and warm homes and information at our fingertips, and we have amazing medical therapies so that we don't die when we have a baby or get a cut on our hand. But we are also facing things that our people that came before us never had to face before. Glennon Doyle said that the thing we can do hard things comforted her because there was a we involved. An idea that she wasn't alone and that she could get through the hard times with support. And that we is one of the tools that Eileen Zimmerman talked about in her article on resiliency. Those tools were realistic optimism. They were morality and religious or spiritual beliefs. They were flexibility. And then finally, connection. To get through hard times, we need both tools that allow us to navigate and also tools that help us connect either to something larger than ourselves or to the people around us. Preferably both. Now, these tools were the same even in the hard days when you had as good a chance of dying from childbirth or cutting your hands as anything else, but we use them differently today. We used to sit around the living room and tell their stories about what we'd done and what had happened, or sing songs together that also told stories of things that had happened in the past and gave us a blueprint for going forward. Music used to give people a way to voice their pain in the here and now. They sang to express sorrow, to inspire one another, to remember people who did amazing things so that they thought that they could perhaps do those amazing and hard things themselves. This service today was inspired because I love Emmylou Harris, and her version of Hard Times was one of my favorites over the years. And there's something for me that is so live and plaintive and so much emotion in singing about Stephen Foster's old song, Hard Times Come Again No More. But I started thinking that that's what artists do today, don't they? Commercial ballads give us something to listen to, and commercial ballads sing about joy and love and expressing the angst of being human. But somehow it's much harder to bring that into our daily lives. It's harder to, unless you're singing out loud in your car as you're driving, it's hard to feel that vibration, heart-to-heart vibration that real music singing together brings to us. That's why I'm so grateful that Jeff was willing to sing with us today and bring live music of that heartfelt variety that we could feel throughout our bodies in this room. Because part of the problem of today's hard times is that while we need one another to get through them, the biggest aspect of today's challenge is that we're isolated from one another. Is that we have this sense of separation, of not being able to read each other's faces, of not being able to sing together, of not being able to hug without wondering whether we're doing something that might cause harm. It feels like some extended journey through purgatory, and not being able to do the very things that our bodies as humans who have evolved together around campfires, hugging and greeting and singing and being, help us to survive. Now, as Paula said, a false positivity doesn't help either. We have to be realistic. We have to acknowledge what is real in front of us without borrowing any other troubles, but what is real for us right here in this moment. And then be able to trust that if we ground ourselves in this moment and if we gather the tools around us, we can go forward. The tools that they mentioned were first noticing, then having a moral compass or religious beliefs that help us gather, because those are something larger than ourselves. I think as Unitarian Universalists, there's a lot of strength that comes from our first principle, knowing that we uphold the worth and dignity of every single person, and because of that, we are going to know ourselves connected to one another. We are going to know that I'm not wearing this mask because I want to keep myself safe. I'm wearing this mask because I want to keep the people around me safe. I want to keep that person that I don't even know is immunocompromised safe. So I'm going to do something hard for somebody else. And then flexibility and connection are also tools. And flexibility is really hard right now. We've been practicing flexibility for 19 months? Okay, this month is this, and this month it's this, and this month it's this, and this month stay away, and this month, well, maybe we can hug again. Oh my gosh, that takes a lot of energy, doesn't it? I don't know, it does for me. So if we remember Reinhold Niebuhr's serenity prayer, I think it's something that we can hold on to. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I don't think there's any curiosity as why that's the AA thing that they say over and over to get you through those things that feel so hard. Because if you can just focus on accepting what's in front of you, on taking agency when agency is needed, and then on looking for that wisdom to be able to know which is which. Letting it go. It's a great mantra in these hard times. And finally, there's connection. Just touch on that momentarily. Connection feels so hard right now, even though many of us are on social media and have 500 friends or some ridiculous amount. And it's crazy. We can still feel lonely. And in some level, I think that that's why there's so much anger on social media, because people go there expecting they're going to feel connected to all these people, and then you don't feel that warm, fuzzy connection. But guess what? If you get angry at somebody and start a dialogue, that anger at least feels like some connection. It might not be what we're looking for, but it is. If somebody yells back at you, you've made a connection. I've been thinking about what would happen if we all deleted everybody except for 5 of our closest friends or family members. And then we stopped trying to follow anybody else and only followed those 5 people. And really deepened our relationship. They might be across the country, but really deepened our relationship with those 5 people. Maybe that would be a way to use this technology, which is amazing, but not have the technology roll us over and destroy what is the most beautiful and best thing about being human. Our ability to love, our ability to share, our ability to connect with one another. Coming to church on a Sunday morning is one of the ways we do connect. We do see one another. We do hear one another. We do remember our common tribal roots as humans who need other humans to be our fullest and best selves. And Unitarian Universalist minister Mark Morrison Reed says the religious community is essential. For alone, our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, and our strength is too limited to do all that must be done. But together, our vision widens, and our strength is renewed. I need my vision to be as wide as possible. I need the strength that comes from gathering with people that are all doing their best to do the hard things that are in front of them. Because life, with all of its gifts and blessings, and there are many, is still challenging much of the time. And no amount of window dressing or ignoring or pushing down is going to change that. As we go through, each generation has had some things better and some things worse. Each of us has our own unique cross to bear. But the good news is that we do not have to bear it alone. The good news is that we have people that will walk with us, that will remind us of our connection to something so much larger than ourselves, that will remind us that we can do hard things, that we can survive, we can even thrive. Amen, and blessed be.
I have to admit, I'm laughing because I picked my music to respond to Reverend Dan's message without hearing it every week. I usually have pretty good instincts. But today I picked a song that's possibly the most toxic positivity song of all time. Check yourself. So, Jason Hinsdale and the wonderful performance by Jeff here is one way of dealing with grief. I suppose this is more of a mid-30s way of dealing with grief. But we did win the war with this song. And I also found this interesting piece of historical. On January 20th, 2009, Barack Obama, in his inaugural speech, quoted the lyrics in the song saying, "Starting today, we must pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and begin the work of remaking America again." So, not so old-fashioned, I guess, because Obama was it. Anyway, I hope this isn't too chirpy, but here we go.
You can extinguish your chalices at home as we do ours here. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of its truth, the warmth of this community, nor the fire of our commitment. These we carry in our hearts and share with all the world.
Our benediction is from Eleanor Roosevelt, and then we'll have Jeff playing our final song. She writes, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You're able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror, and I can take the next thing which comes along. Today, take strength and courage and love of this community as you go back into the world, and remember, you are loved." Thank you. This is Gulf Coast Highway.
This is going to be a hard thing. I've never done this by myself. I was with my wife who was traveling. She's on the road. And this is a song we do to honor our friend Kathy, who died at 45 of cancer. And her favorite flower is the bluebonnet flower. And she was taken from us way too soon. This is a Nancy Griffith song. Gulf Coast Highway, you work the rail, you work the rice field with their cool dark wells, you work the oil rings in the Gulf of Mexico. The only thing he's ever known is this old house here by the road. And when he dies, he says he'll catch some blackbird's wing, and he will fly away to heaven on some sweet bluebonnet string. She walked through springtime when I was home. The days were sweet, the nights were warm. The seasons change, the jobs will come, the flowers fade, and this old house felt so alone when the work took me away. And when she dies, she says she'll catch some blackbird's wing, and she will fly away to heaven come some sweet bluebonnet spring. Highway 90, the jobs they're gone. We tend our garden, we set the sun. This is the only place on earth bluebonnets grow, and once a year they come and go. This old house here by the road. And when we die, they will catch some blackbird's wing, and we will fly away to heaven, some sweet bluebonnet spring. Yet when we die, we say we'll catch some blackbird's wing, and we will fly away together, come some sweet bluebonnet spring.
That was beautiful. I just want to remind you that we are going to do coffee hour inside, but we're going to pretend we're a restaurant. So leave your mask up unless you're taking a sip, and then, try to maintain a little bit of distance. I mean, it's a little chilly to be outside now these days, and our levels have been dropping and dropping. So they're actually about the time what they were back in June when we were allowed to be maskless. So we're doing the best we can. Yay! Thank you all.